Let me ask you something honestly. What happens to a country when half the population believes elections can't be trusted? Because right now, one sentence is exploding across American political Twitter, now X. America will die without secure elections. That line was amplified by Elon Musk, reacting to US election legislation. And once that sentence hit the internet, it struck a nerve. But here's the real question. Is this fear justified? Or is America fighting a different problem altogether? Let's break it down, using only American news reporting and USA political voices. This debate reignited after Republican Senator Rick Scott promoted new election security legislation, arguing that only U.S. citizens must vote and that tighter safeguards are necessary. Elon Musk responded publicly, warning that without secure elections, America itself is at risk. Now, that statement wasn't made in a vacuum. According to reporting from the New York Times and the Washington Post, election security has become one of the most polarizing political issues in the country, especially after 2020. But American media draws a very important distinction here. When U.S. newspapers talk about secure elections, they're not talking about conspiracy theories. They're talking about by-the-peak cybersecurity threats to voter databases, foreign influence operations, disinformation campaigns on social media, aging election infrastructure run by thousands of local counties. The Washington Post has repeatedly reported that foreign actors like Russia, Iran, and China attempt to influence American voters, not by changing votes, but by changing minds. That's real. That's documented. And U.S. intelligence agencies agree on that. But here's the key part, and this is where American media is very clear. Mainstream American newspapers consistently report that there is no verified evidence of widespread voter fraud capable of overturning national elections. The New York Times has documented that, by dozens of court cases failed to prove large-scale fraud. Tennessee Republican and Democratic election officials confirmed results. Tennessee's paper ballots and audits acted as safeguards. So when influencers say America will die, American journalists respond with this question. Law. Are we talking about securing elections or destroying trust in them? Because trust is where the real danger lives. Here's the uncomfortable truth. According to U.S. political analysts, a democracy doesn't collapse because elections fail. It collapses when people stop believing elections matter. The Washington Post has warned that repeated claims, even without evidence, can reduce voter turnout, radicalize political bases, normalize rejection of peaceful election results. And once citizens stop accepting outcomes they don't like, the system doesn't need hackers to fall apart. It breaks from the inside. That's why American newspapers frame this debate carefully. Law, yes. Improve cybersecurity. Yes. Protect election infrastructure. No. Don't convince citizens the system is rigged without proof. So will America die without secure elections? Not overnight, not dramatically, but democracy weakens when fear replaces facts, when slogans replace evidence, and when trust disappears. American journalism makes one thing clear. Law election security is essential. Law life transparency is essential. Law lifeline. Lose that. And no country stays stable for long. If you believe democracy survives on facts, not fear, share this conversation. Because the future of elections isn't just about machines or laws. It's about whether people still believe that their voice matters.